I am an African American boy, and right now I'm 15 years old. I was 12 years old. I was corporally punished by a teacher. Struck me 6 times using excessive force, 6 times on my bottom, about 3 times my size. When he patted me on my bottom, I don't remember anything except what happened to me. I didn't understand why it happened to me. Since that time, some people think that corporal punishment is good, but it's bad because I've been through corporal punishment and it turned out wrong. It turned out the way the kids should not be beaten and the way the teachers are doing us out here in the United States. I think it's actually wrong the way they're doing us, but see, I've been through it and I know how these kids feel, suffering through all the pain and sorrow and stuff like that. And I just don't understand why it all happened to us kids out here. I was the one that got beaten at Rolling, but I've been through a lot through my life ever since that happened. So if people out in the world could hear me out right now, I wish they would stop corporal punishment.
Could you tell us, young man, what are some things that you have been experiencing ever since then?
Ever since that happened to me, I've been going through a lot of stuff in school. I've been suspended a total of 100 days out of school last year. And now I'm trying to do good, but my sleep, I just don't know why, but I got flashbacks. I see the teacher every once in a while.
I am a 14-year-old who was abused by a school administrator. I have not returned to school yet. I am still suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. The courts have done nothing to bring about justice for me. I feel angry and cannot understand why adults in this world allow teachers to abuse children and get away with it. My life has not been the same since, and I don't know if it ever will be.
I'm a 62-year-old white male. I'm a former school teacher, and I'm a parent. I have some concerns about corporal punishment and have had concerns about it for many years. Children are not for hitting. I think young people learn enough about violence without having more lessons in it at school. Children are especially vulnerable to emotional and physical harm when they're young. Children are also fragile when they're young. When the adult-to-child connection breaks, behavior can go off track. And I believe that's because people don't think well when they're hurting. It is important to know that children need the most love and listening attention when they act the least deserving of it. As a white male, I also experience being saturated in a culture of cruelty, a racist culture. I believe it is necessary to acknowledge this fact and then join together with others and interrupt all hurtful behaviors, including corporal punishment. Violence begets violence. I think that what goes around comes around. I believe we all are victims of racism and bigotry and must do all that is in our power not to perpetuate that oppression. All people have a fundamental right to be free of the threat of coercion, including torture, pain, and violence at home and at school. If we were to purposefully design a culture with the goal of producing violent people, we would create it exactly like the culture in which we grow up. Another belief I have is that there are not bad children, only children whose behavior has gone off track. Hitting certainly isn't helpful. When children lose the warm human connections with others and they then can't think clearly, The belief that children are bad has done more harm, I believe, than any other belief invented by humanity. It is one of the main reasons the world is in such a mess. I believe it is we adults who may need a time out to learn alternatives to the addiction of threatening and hitting so we can build stronger and closer relationships with our children. These abuses also interfere with the ability to learn. Ending corporal punishment at school sends a strong message to the rest of the community that violence is not acceptable and there are better ways to build children up, not tear them down. I believe racism has contributed to this situation. Number one, hitting and violence unfairly targets more frequently the poor, minorities, low-achieving students, boys, and is associated with higher rates of vandalism. Number two, black children and male children are much more likely to be hit at home and school, and the corporal punishment of boys tends to be more severe, more frequent, and more aggressive. Number three, corporal punishment is linked with other negative outcomes, including increased rates of aggression, delinquency, profound emotional distress issues, and problems in relationships. Number four, people become violent when they have suffered from trauma or unmet needs and have not had opportunities to heal from these experiences in a loving environment. And finally, number five, violence and abuse includes emotional hurts, which permanently cause learning difficulties. Thank you very much.